And I know it firsthand because I was sometimes that person that would be like, oh, I'm going to go do this. And then you're like sitting on the freaking couch not doing that. Or I've been around people that do that. And I'm like, man, you're going to regret that tomorrow.
We rise to the top, can't stop this flow. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready, let's go. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready.
What's going on, everybody? Just want to do a little quick one today. A little bit of advice. What do you got? I know I kind of sprung this on you. Do you got something, or you want me to go first?
I think that for me, man, I do definitely have something. Right. I would say the biggest thing for me, at least, I want to say the last week, but really the last couple months has been, and I know we've talked about this before, but I wanted to emphasize it because I'm in that stage right now where it's do shit in the dark and be okay with doing it in the dark. I think a lot of times, even myself back in the day, and even up until recently, a lot of times, you specifically like social media and stuff like that, I think sometimes people put too much weight on that type of stuff, and it's easy to compare, and it's easy to get in your own feelings and get yourself down when it comes to comparing yourself to others and the journey that they're on or the stuff that they're doing. And I took a minute away, I got sick and all that type of stuff, hence the wonderful voice right now. I took a minute to regenerate and do all that other stuff or re-energize and all whatever. And that moment of silence and then all the consistency work that I've been doing started paying off, and I actually started to feel good about it. And I actually started to see, instead of like, oh, like this person's doing that, it's take a step back sometimes you take 2 steps forward to take 1 step back, and then that's kind of the progression of momentum. Because sometimes when you start looking at other people's shit, or you're like, oh man, they're doing this, and
it can be really discouraging.
But it's also, to be honest, a lot of, and I'm not going to swear because I heard it, but there's sometimes a lot of BS in that. And I know it firsthand because I was sometimes that person that would be like, oh, I'm going to go do this. And then you're like sitting on the freaking couch not doing that. Or I've been around people that do that, and I'm like, man, you're gonna regret that tomorrow. And then you can put it towards the gym, you can put it towards whatever, but essentially you have to sit in that pity later. You'll have to sit with it at some point, and it is not a good feeling to be in. And I made a post a couple of days ago, and that's really what it was about. It's like, just live with your true authentic, whatever that is. And Goggins talked about that a million times in the book. Own up to your shit. Own up to where you're at, where you need to be. And that is the catapult that moves you forward. Because without that, you're not going to move anywhere.
You need to have accountability through it all.
Mm-hmm.
If you, especially if you're going to put it on social media, you need to have accountability. You need to follow through. I mean, that's something. It's interesting that you bring that up, because that's something the wife and I actually talked about a couple of days ago.
Did you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. That if we're going to say it, especially if it's going to go out on social, we got to stick to it. If we're going to post, like when we were doing the 75 hard and stuff, like we post about it, and it's we're sticking to it. We're not going to fail. One, because we just don't want to. We have the grit, we have the fortitude, we have it all to make it through. But also, we put it out there. We're going to follow through with what we said.
Right.
We made some goals for ourselves, and yesterday we were both kicking ourselves for them, but we're like, but there's a reason we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to no avail. We're doing it for a reason.
Right.
So we didn't put it out on social, but it's still, we're sticking to our own words.
But that's probably one of the healthiest things a person can do.
Yeah.
Is do the shit in the dark, because the results and the actions will pay off regardless.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I didn't understand that. I thought everything had to be out there. Everything had to be, certain. It's that ego. It's that, wanting to kind of, what we used to call like, show off or whatever. That's where that comes from. And that that stuff can work for a little bit and it can make sense. But at the same time, take a step back, focus on yourself, focus on what you're doing. And I guarantee that at the end of the day, you'll be a lot more happier than you were if you're posting bullshit or if you're looking at somebody else to be like, oh, this person's doing so good, and I'm over here. You never know what's behind closed curtains. You never know what's going on. But I guarantee you that everybody's watching. You know, your haters, or you call them your haters, your lovers, whatever it might be. They're all watching you, and so don't give them the ammo to when they see you down the road, be like, oh, I thought you was doing this, homie. What's up with that? You know what I mean? Don't ever fall into that trap, and don't ever fall into the trap, because when you see them, be like, hold up, like, how many times have you, and I'm not sure, I mean, I can only say because I was around toxic people, but I saw a million times people post like, oh, I love this dude, I love this girl. 2 months down the road, they're broken up because they were both, sleeping around each other, whatever, on each other. And it's like, you never know. And at the end of the day, like, but then you might have judged your relationship based on that post, and you're like, oh man, like I needed. And I think when people post things, I mean, take them with a grain of salt, and take that, with like, oh man, they're enjoying themselves. Now I post because I want to store it somewhere. I want people to like, oh, okay, maybe you can, somebody be like, oh man, this takes his wife on a date, pretty consistent. Maybe I should start doing that. They look pretty happy. I don't know, but I've saw that modeled through the people that I'm around, not necessarily in social media, but the people that I'm around. The people that I'm around open their wife's doors for their cars. All that stuff is normal. So it, like, you want to be in that, you know what I mean? You don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, look at this guy, But at the end of the day, yeah, dude, like, just focus on yourself, put yourself first, put your priorities first, all that other stuff, and just be like, I'm just gonna focus on me.
What do they say? It's the silent one wins, or something like that.
I've never heard it, but I can believe it.
It's something. I mean, I butchered the saying, but it's the guy that doesn't talk is one you got to be worried about.
You do, man, because the
people that are constantly talking, and social media is such a hard one because it's a
bunch of trolls, man.
It is, and you got to find the people that you can relate to, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
Knowing them in person makes it easier for me. I know a couple people, and I'm like, I've at least seen them doing some of the work or whatever, so it's easier for me to understand what they're doing. But or like Andy Frisella says, find their companies. Can you buy from them? What do they have? What do they offer? And if you can't find any of that, maybe it's not somebody you should look up to.
Exactly. And I would just say, tell people, take the shit with a grain of salt, because you don't know. We all go through shit. We're all not perfect. We're all going through stuff. We're all trying to be better. And I say I never hope that reach that pinnacle, because I think once you reach that pinnacle, you've kind of stopped growing. So I know that there will always be a lane to grow, and I think people just need to take all this shit with a grain of salt. All the stuff you see, and really just focus on what you're doing and how you're gonna do it and what you're putting forward in that day, the next day, and then that month. And you just do that, and you'll get somewhere. Like,
it's a little hard because we're on here and we talk about a lot of the stuff, but we live up to what we talk about.
Yeah.
So that's something. Yeah. We're in the gym. We're working behind the scenes to do this or that. So.
Yeah, I think. Be very mindful of the shit that you do, because I think, like I said, this last week, because I had to really take a second to sit down. I was like, damn, bro, like, okay, like, and then you see people out, and man, it's a cool thing to, like, just take a step back and be like, okay, I'm focusing on myself. I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. And those social media breaks are, honestly, they're super healthy to me.
They can be very good.
They're today's world, you kind of see what's going on out there, and it's nice to kind of unplug sometimes and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with the political shit. I'm not gonna deal with the people going this way, talk about that. And I was showing Taylor off kind of subject, but we had talked about how fitness can be so when you first get into it, how it can be so confusing. And I watched a video that was like, guy's like, oh, he's gonna grab a piece of watermelon. He's like, and he pulls up a reel of somebody saying, don't eat fruit.
Yeah.
It's bad for you. He's like, are you going to grab a cup of water? Don't drink water. It's bad for you. So it's like, it got me thinking. I was like, exactly. This is what I'm talking about. You can find shit that's going to mess with your brain left and right, blah, blah, blah. Just focus on you. Take a step back and be like, what is good for me right now?
Yep.
And don't worry about, take mentorship or advice from people that are either heading to, or they should already be where you want to be. That's the optimal person. Like, that person's where I want to be. He's got what I want, whether it be fitness, the financial, the spiritual, whatever it might be. If those people have characteristics that you're looking for, then I would say then that makes sense. Do your due diligence and make sure that this is somebody that it's worth following the steps to do.
Yep.
So,
I was going to say that part. So.
yeah, man. That's what it is, man.
I like it.
Yeah, we haven't done face to face in a while, man.
No,
So
we
it's
haven't.
been kind of crazy, but
It's kind of interesting. We haven't done this for a minute.
I think there's energy in it, but yeah, man. I think
I'm excited for what's next. It's gonna be fun.
So yeah, man. I appreciate you, man, asking that question. And what about you?
So I have two. The first one's real quick. Is just don't get jealous of people for what they have. You gotta think of the road they went on to get there. I used to be that way, and I could just tell. I was watching a video of a YouTuber, and just to see where he's come and what he's got, and like he worked hard for it, and it was cool to see. And instead of being like, oh man, I want that, that's cool for him. I'm glad for him. I'm glad for him and his family. So that's the first one. The second one was about teamwork. And I'd heard this. We were having a meeting this week, and they brought it up, and he's like, a Belgian horse, which I didn't know this, but a Belgian horse is one of the most powerful horses. Alone, it can pull 4,000 pounds. You put it with a horse that's never worked with, once they get a little bit more acquainted, they can pull 16,000.
Wow.
So triple or what?
Wow.
Right?
That's interesting.
Now, if you have them working together for a long period of time, they can pull up to 32,000.
Wow.
So the power of teamwork is huge. If you're in that sort of environment,
Yeah.
power of teamwork, working with your individuals, working with a team. And to me, that's great because I love working in teams. I love being able to give my advice to people or my thoughts and get the same thing back. So that was cool. And it was cool to be brought up by management. Somebody that's above is like, hey, we're doing good, but just so you know, this hit me, and it's just, I feel like it's appropriate for what we're talking about. So
that's cool.
Teamwork, teamwork makes the dream work, they say, right?
Yeah.
So that was my big one. So that's
Awesome.
all I got.
That was good, man. Yeah, we'll have to deep dive into that. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, brother. And thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
The Roundtable Podcast, where we talk to our personal growth, struggles, and